Welcome everybody. Yesterday I began by talking about Jesus' call to build a church, and he used this word ecclesia, and we looked at what that meant. And I came across a quote that I love. It's from a guy called Andy Stanley. Some of you might know perhaps his better known father, Charles Stanley. And this is what he says: once the church was legalised, what began as unexplainable became institutional. Before long, the church became less of a movement and more of an establishment. And 2,000 years later, the church still struggles with its identity and purpose. Say the word church today, and very few people think of movement. Here's the thing: I don't really understand that word institution, because it kind of reminds me of somewhere full of old people, disinfectant, lukewarm tea, dry rich tea biscuits, dust, plastic padded upright chairs and piped music. That's what I get when I get that word institution. It also reminds me of people who think they are Jesus or the Queen or Henry VIII or somebody like that, utterly convinced they're right when they're completely wrong. I might not like the word institution, but I love the word movement. Movement has action about it. I'm kind of an action person. I like action. It's got life about it. It's got purpose about it. It always seems to me that Jesus had that in mind when he told us to go and make disciples of all the nations, starting from right where we are. But the church has always had to fight to remember that. To remember that it's a movement and not a club. It's not just a gathering point of believers, but it's a gathering of believers around a mission. It's for those who are already there, and it's for those who are not yet there. And so we constantly have to keep refocusing on that purpose and what Jesus intended for his church, to be there to connect themselves and others to the mission of Jesus and the apostles. So we've got to remind ourselves on this. Now, here's the thing. When Jesus said, "On this rock I'll build my church," what do you think he had in mind? Think about it. Just try and get inside his head. What was he thinking? Is it anything like what we see now? Maybe that question stumps you a bit. Maybe you just think it's a stupid question and everyone knows the answer to that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we do know the answer, because the word translated church is absolutely nothing like the picture most people have of church. The word used is ecclesia, which sounds kind of religious, and it is kind of religious. But when Jesus used it, it wasn't a religious term at all. It referred to people gathering for a purpose. People gathering around military operations, gathering to make decisions. People gathered together and working together for a specific purpose. Now, here's the thing. A getting together wasn't enough. It's about purpose. It isn't static, it's dynamic. And so it's not about just us gathering. It's about us gathering round a mission. I'll be back tomorrow with more on that.